If you could only eat one last meal before you died, what would it be? Death row inmate Oba Chandler chose 2 salami sandwiches on white bread with mustard, 2 peanut butter and grape jelly sandwiches on white bread, iced tea, and coffee. This is Death Row Diner. This wouldn't be much of a video if I was just putting together a sandwich, so we're going to actually make the bread from scratch. We're going to be using a stand mixer, because we got one, so might as well use it. Combine 3/4 of a cup of warm water, half a cup of milk, and 9 grams of yeast. Give it a little stir and let it rest for a good 5 minutes. Next, to the bowl of the stand mixer, we're going to add all our dry ingredients, so that's 3 cups of bread flour, 1.5 TSPs of salt, and 1 TBSP of sugar. Give it a whisk so it all gets blended together. Then stick your bowl on your mixer and affix your dough hook. I should mention that this bread recipe is inspired by Joshua Weissman's How to Make Supermarket Bread video, linked below. After 5 to 10 minutes, your yeast should be nice and bubbly, or in my case, completely sunk into the bottom. That might mean it's not good. Does yeast have an expiration date? Let me check this. Refrigerate after opening? Did anyone else know you're supposed to do this? Well, I sure didn't. Good thing I've got another container of yeast that's also been opened and not refrigerated, but somehow seems to still be alive. So I just repeated the previous steps with the good stuff. Put the wet into the dry and let the mixer start mixing. Let it knead itself together for a few minutes, and once it starts to come together, we're going to be adding 3 TBSPs of butter. After a bunch of minutes and it's completely come together, just take it off the dough hook. If it's still kind of misshapen like this, just pick it up and kind of squish it into a ball shape. A lot of these recipe videos will then say to put it in a bowl, but like we've already got a bowl, so just put it in the same bowl you're already using. Then cover it with a towel and let it rest for an hour. And if your yeast truly is alive, it's not just bluffing, you'll find out now as it doubles in size. Take a loaf of bread shaped pan and give it a good buttering. Then flour your work area and plop out your dough. Roll it out flat to about the width of your bread pan. Then roll it up and plop it in. Don't forget to do the floury hands dust clap. Then cover it with an inverted bread pan and let it rest for another hour. After the hour's up, remove the cover. It might get a little sticky if it's risen as much as it has. I guess that means the yeast is still alive and kicking. And voila, that's looking pretty good. Then we're going to stick it in a 350-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes or so until it's just lightly golden brown. Bread's one of those things that takes a long time because of all the resting, but most of that time is just resting, so that's my kind of time. Take it out of the pan and let it cool on a wire rack. After the bread's completely cooled, we're going to start the kettle for the coffee and tea. For the coffee, we're French pressing it. Doesn't get much simpler than that. When you put your coffee grounds in it, make sure to get them all over the counter. For the tea, since it's iced tea, we're going to use 2 tea bags to make it extra strong since it's going to get diluted by the melting ice later. When the water's boiling, fill up your vessels. We're going to start slicing our bread. You could use a serrated knife, but it's not necessary. As long as the knife you're using is sharp, it should do the trick. Alright, so salami sandwich with mustard. Let's start with the mustard, then add the salami. He didn't specify any toppings other than mustard, but he didn't say there weren't any others, so we're gonna gussy these up, as the kids say. That's a little better. And repeat for the second sandwich. I probably don't need to explain how to spread peanut butter on bread. For the jelly, you're obviously going to want to spread that on the other side of the bread. I think grape jelly is pretty popular in a lot of places, but it's not really something we eat where I'm from. We're more of a jam people here, but I'll give it a try. Once again, repeat with the second sandwich. Now that the tea's done steeping, we'll take those bags out, and while it's still hot, pour a bunch of honey in there. Unless, of course, you like your iced tea not sweet, but why would you? Get your glass ready with lots of ice in it. Most of it's going to melt, so you're definitely going to need a lot of ice. Speaking of things melting, this is insanely hot right now. Let me go grab a glove. Well, that's not going to work. Let me grab 2 gloves. Alright, alright, easy does it. Easy does it. Okay. Oops. Okay. Yeah, come. Oh, yeah. Most of it's going in. Almost all of it's going in. Like at least 90% of it's going in. I'd call that mission accomplished. I'll save you the indignity of watching me pour coffee, and now that everything's ready, it's time to plate up. And there we have it. That's a lot of sandwiches for one man. See, it's a lot of the same thing. And don't get me wrong, I like a salami sandwich as much as the next guy. And I love peanut butter. After all, peanut butter's my jam. Or my jelly in this case. But in a world of steak and lobster, why would you choose a grade school lunch? Unless that's entirely the point. A little nostalgia goes a long way towards making people feel comfort. So, while this is his choice, it probably wouldn't be mine. Sorry, buddy, I'm gonna have to give it a 2.5 out of 10.